My name is Kevin, a 34-year-old male office worker. I work for a large corporation, but the tasks assigned to me are all very simple. The reason for this is that my boss, Mike, thinks I'm incompetent and never gives me any substantial work. So, I end up doing menial tasks like making coffee and photocopying, just like a handyman. I don't think anyone does these kinds of tasks anymore. If someone wants coffee, they go to the break room themselves, and if they need copies, they make them themselves. But Mike and the others treat me like a gopher, making me do all sorts of odd jobs. However, these tasks are so trivial that I finish them quickly and end up feeling bored. I always wished I could be assigned more challenging and fulfilling tasks. I pride myself on being diligent, but I'm not assertive, so I never stand up to Mike or the others. This has been the case since childhood. In school, from elementary to high school, I was constantly teased by a classmate named Nick. Nick called me a gloomy guy and always laughed at me. Indeed, if I had to choose between being cheerful or gloomy, I'd fall into the latter category. I didn't hang out with the others and spend my breaks reading books or writing stories, so I didn't have any friends. When Nick saw me drawing or writing, he would say things like this: "Yuck, you're drawing pictures even though you're a boy. You're really creepy. Hey, why would you say that? I don't think it's weird at all." Yes, it's weird. I mean, all other 5th grade boys like soccer or baseball, but you're the only one drawing in the classroom. Look, everyone. Kevin is drawing strange pictures. Stop it, please, give it back. Try to take it back if you're so upset. Here. Nick had been harassing me like this since elementary school. He was so unpleasant to be around, but unfortunately, we ended up in the same middle and high schools, which was the worst. In high school, our class decided to do a play for the cultural festival, and Nick, wanting to tease me, nominated me for the lead role. I hated standing out, so I was truly shocked. Kevin should play the lead role of Romeo. What? I think Kevin has great acting skills and will perform wonderfully. I've known him since elementary school, so I know everything about him. Therefore, the role of Romeo should be Kevin's. Just wait a minute. Despite my protests, everyone agreed, and I ended up playing Romeo and Juliet, albeit reluctantly. The girl who played Juliet was crying, saying, "I wish I could have performed with a more handsome guy." That was a shock to me, too. I knew I wasn't particularly good looking. I felt sorry for my parents, but I thought my facial attractiveness was below average. Although the girl seemed displeased, the play was a success, and we received a round of applause. But I hated being the center of attention and really wanted to disappear. While everyone else went to a barbecue restaurant to celebrate, I curled up in bed at home. Because of these experiences, I'm still very timid. I can speak up to those in higher positions, so I thought I would continue doing an interesting work. One day, a woman came to our headquarters from a regional office. Her name was Elizabeth, and she was going to be my new boss. She was about 5'3", but she looks a bit taller because of her high heels. Additionally, she's a beauty with a well-defined nose and fair skin. I wondered what I'd do if my direct boss turned out to be a tough character. But Elizabeth wasn't harsh at all and treated me kindly. "Kevin, could you help me with this document preparation?" "Me? Do the document preparation?" "Yes, I was going to ask someone else, but everyone is busy and refused. It's not that you seemed free. Please don't take it the wrong way." "No, I'll do it. Please use me if you think I can be of help." "Great, then I'm counting on you." Elizabeth gave me a task. I was thrilled to finally have a meaningful job after such a long time. Having only done mundane tasks until now, I devoted myself fully to document preparation. Thanks to my efforts, I managed to create a document that was easy to understand and neatly organized. "Elizabeth, I've finished this. Is it okay like this?" "Oh, thank you, it looks great. It's nice and easy to understand when it's organized so cleanly. Kevin, you're good at preparing documents, aren't you? Well, yeah, I mean, I do like doing this kind of work. I'll ask for your help again then. Yes, of course. I felt elated all day because Elizabeth praised my document preparation. But my mood was dampened when Mike called me in and assigned me yet another tedious task. It was to bind printed data into files in the document room. I wondered why he couldn't do such a simple task himself. Moreover, there were 3 boxes worth of files to organize, which was quite a task. My back started to hurt, and by the time I finished, I was completely worn out. I couldn't help but think to myself, they shouldn't have let it pile up this much in the first place. Back at my desk, I saw Elizabeth working diligently. There was a pleasant scent coming from her. Perhaps it was the fragrance of her perfume. I realized I was quite taken with Elizabeth. Or more accurately, she had become quite a significant figure to me. Elizabeth, a graduate of a prestigious university in the city, and having studied abroad in the U.S., exuded an intellectual aura. No wonder many male colleagues were aiming for her. They probably wanted a smart and beautiful woman like her as their girlfriend. Elizabeth, though younger than me at 30, was already a section chief. Being intelligent, attractive, and stylish, she was a woman who couldn't be ignored by anyone. During breaks, male colleagues would flock to invite her to lunch. But she would politely decline everyone's invitations with a smile. Then, she would sit alone at her desk, nibbling on a sandwich. I also preferred eating deli lunches at my desk, so I felt a sense of camaraderie and was somewhat pleased by this similarity. I dislike crowded places like the cafeteria, and I hate going there alone. Once, when I went to the cafeteria by myself, a female colleague said, "Look, there's a loner," and laughed at me. Since then, I never went back. Eating at the popular lunch outside is a hassle because of the lines, and I'd have to rush my meal to get back on time. I didn't want to rush my meal, so deli lunches were more than enough for me. Elizabeth was kind to other female colleagues, but they said she was standoffish because she was an elite. I didn't see her that way. It seemed more like jealousy. She was attractive, had a good figure, and a solid education, so there was a barrier. Also, other female colleagues were married or had children. They would say to her, "You wouldn't understand because you're single." I felt sorry for Elizabeth. She might have her reasons for being single, and I wished they would just leave her alone. Middle-aged women would say, "You better get married soon, or you won't be able to have kids," which was none of their business. No one would want to hear such comments from their peers. Even if I were a woman, I thought I couldn't bear it. But Elizabeth never got angry. Instead, she always laughed it off. One day, Elizabeth said to me, "Could you accompany me to a business meeting tomorrow?" Me. "Yes, I want you to learn. We're planning to collaborate with company to create food products for patients with a certain disease." "Wow, really? Well then, I'll go. I'm not sure if I can be of any help, though. I'm just an inexperienced office worker, after all." "Don't talk about yourself like that. You're working hard, aren't you, Kevin? Education and position don't matter. If you keep at it, you will be rewarded eventually." "Yeah, you're right. I'll do my best. Please take me with you to learn." And so, we headed to the business meeting the next day. Our company, B Corporation, specializes in food products, and A Corporation is in the medical field. Elizabeth mentioned that we were developing food items for patients with a specific illness. I had read the materials she gave me beforehand, thinking about what we were planning to create. The focus was on patients with skin diseases. So, I thought about this for patients with epidermolysis bullosa, nutrient-packed cookies. Yes, I heard these patients often have difficulty with nutritional intake, so I thought cookies packed with nutrients might work. But you see, Patients with epidermolysis bullosa also have mucosal lesions and might find it painful to eat something like cookies. Ah, I see. David from a corporation listened to Elizabeth's idea with a frown. Epidermolysis bullosa is a complex skin condition where the skin is fragile and easily forms blisters. It can occur anywhere on the body, including inside the mouth. For moderate to severe cases, oral intake becomes difficult, and patients struggle to eat. We need nutrition to survive, but eating becomes a challenge. However, David was concerned that nutrient-packed cookies might be too hard and hurt the mouth. Indeed, cookies are crunchy. We tried selling beverages before, but they didn't sell well because they tasted bad. Really? I see. A corporation's beverage was thick and unappetizing. To put it bluntly, it felt undrinkable. The beverage was drinkable, but its thick, unpleasant texture and taste made people feel sick, especially children. What should we do? It's hard to find something that's both nutritious and enjoyable for everyone. You're a food company, right? Shouldn't you come up with something easier to eat or drink? Our company is a medical manufacturer, so you should be better at this, right? Yes, well, I had gathered opinions, and cookies seemed like a reasonable choice. Really? This is not going anywhere. We asked for your help because we're in trouble. This won't help the patients. I'm sorry, let me think about it again. But we have a tasting session for the patients next month. We can't wait any longer. Well, Elizabeth was in a tight spot. That's when I made a suggestion. How about chocolate or marshmallows? What? Think of chocolate that melts in the mouth, not the hard, crunchy kind. Maybe something with a texture like ganache. And marshmallows are soft and melt in the mouth, too. Plus, they can be nutrient-richer, even kids would enjoy it. And that sounds better than these prototype cookies. Yes, it's a good idea to market it as a snack that is easy to eat while still providing nutrition, rather than just as a dietary supplement. There are various types of this disease, and some types particularly affect the mouth and esophagus, causing blisters and erosions. So, we should highlight the melting texture. As for your company's beverage, it's a bit difficult to say, but it was quite thick and reminded me of barium. Exactly, I thought it resembled barium. It also reminded me of the nutritional drink my father had to consume when he was hospitalized with cancer. Unfortunately, the combination of ingredients made it taste bad. I thought about pudding or jelly, but they don't have a long shelf life. So, I thought melt-in-your-mouth candy would be better. What do you think, David? Yes, that makes sense. Pudding is easy to eat but has a short shelf life, and we want to produce a large quantity. Then let's go with chocolate and marshmallows. It's winter, so it'll be perfect for Valentine's Day. Oh, that's true. Please do that. Could you email us the details, Kevin? Yes, I'll send you a quote right away. Once I confirm it with my supervisor, I'll get back to you. Elizabeth looked at me intently. Her eyes were wide, probably wondering why someone like me, who she considered an inexperienced worker, would make such a suggestion. On the way back to the office, I explained to her that there are 4 main types of epidermolysis bullosa and the various treatment methods. Elizabeth nodded, taking notes and asking me questions. Kevin, you're really talented, aren't you? You said you were just an incompetent employee, but I don't see you that way. Perhaps you are someone with incredible knowledge. Ahaha, no way, that's not true at all. Come on. You must be a real elite, right? You probably attended a more prestigious university than I did and have lots of qualifications, right? Kevin, who are you really? Please, tell me honestly. Elizabeth's eyes were serious. Realizing it was futile to hide it any longer, I decided to reveal my background. I'm a college graduate. At least, that's true. Really? I thought so, but may I ask which university? I thought she was just asking out of curiosity. ABC Medical University. What? I graduated from the medical school. Actually, I have both a medical license and a lawyer's qualification. Wait, you're from the medical school, So, you were a doctor? No, I passed the national medical examination but didn't become a doctor. And a lawyer too. Did you go to law school, Kevin? It's impossible to have such a background. No, that's the truth. Actually, I obtained my lawyer's qualification through the preliminary examination route. The preliminary examination route. I heard it's more challenging than passing the exam after graduating from law school. Kevin, why did you say you were just an incompetent employee? You're an incredible person with hidden academic credentials and background. Ahaha, well, I was only good at studying. I was always teased by classmates for that. I also wrote novels and drew pictures, but was told it was creepy. You're an incredible genius, like a modern-day Da Vinci. Amazing, Kevin. Thank you for helping me earlier. I was panicking and didn't know how to respond to David. Thank you so much. No, I'm not that great. I had hidden my educational background at the company. But I didn't lie about it during my job application, as that would be misrepresentation. I had correctly listed my university on my resume. However, at B Corporation, a large company, only HR and top management knew about my education, background, and qualifications. Mike and other colleagues probably thought I was just another graduate student. Since medical school is a 6-year program, they assumed I was a graduate student. Mike always yelled at me, saying, "You spent years in school and you are still useless." That's when I decided to play the part of an incompetent graduate. Rumor-loving people were spreading that I had attended a graduate school at some university. But I decided to act as if I had never attended any graduate school and was a hopeless person. There was a reason I pretended to be incapable. I became distrustful of people because of the harassment I faced from my classmate Nick. The only thing I loved was studying. So, I entered medical school, studied hard, and aspired to become a doctor. However, during my 6th year, a traumatic event occurred during my practical training. A little girl with a rare skin disease, who was under my care, passed away. She had a skin condition and succumbed to an infection. People with skin diseases are prone to infections, so care is crucial. But even with careful attention, fragile skin easily becomes infected. I wished such diseases didn't exist in this world. At the same time, I realized that doctors can't save everyone. My parents had paid for my education, so I took the national exam but decided not to become a doctor. I wondered if there was another way to help people, so I decided to become a lawyer. Of course, I had no time or financial support to attend law school. So, I chose to take the legal bar preliminary examination. First, I had to pass the preliminary exam to qualify for the actual bar exam. Frankly, I think it's more challenging than passing the bar exam after graduating from law school. But I passed and later completed my legal training, obtaining a lawyer's qualification. However, another tragedy struck then. My mentor was victimized by a vengeful client and suffered terribly. Eventually, my mentor passed away. I decided to become a lawyer to help others, but the thought of being resented like that was unbearable. So, I chose to work as a regular office worker instead. During interviews, I was repeatedly questioned whether I, a medical school graduate with both medical and legal qualifications, wanted to be a regular employee. But I just wanted a peaceful life, so I gave non-offensive, standard answers. That's how I ended up here. Initially, I was enthusiastic about my work, but I started being called overeager for my age and a nuisance, so I stopped trying. Most of the new graduates were from 4-year colleges, unlike me, who spent years in medical school and legal training. I was treated as a useless person just because I was older, but I didn't care anymore. Indeed, the work assigned to me wasn't interesting, and I wanted something more fulfilling, but I hated being in difficult situations. I just didn't want to take on any responsibility. But this time was different. Elizabeth was in trouble, and I wanted to help her. Since she had recently been paying attention to me, I just thought about what I could do for her. When I shared my past with Elizabeth, she had tears in her eyes. I felt a bit happy realizing she was crying for me. Kevin, you're a very kind person. Perhaps you were too kind, which made it hard for you to become a doctor or a lawyer. But I think that's nothing to be ashamed of. It just means you have a pure heart. Do you think so? Oh, right. I need to email David. I'll hurry and make the estimate. Can I also prepare the documentation? I think I can do it in about an hour. Really? In just 1 hour? You're truly amazing. I'm so surprised. It's not that big of a deal. All right, I'll leave it to you. I prepared the documents and the estimate and attached them to an email. When I sent it to David, his boss called early the next morning. His boss liked my idea and wanted to place an order. A corporation sells medical devices and supplies, but also nutritional supplements. They sell supplements and similar products. They were planning a joint development project, combining their supplement powder with our company's confectionery ingredients. Our chocolates and marshmallows were inexpensive but popular for their delicious taste. I asked the development department to adjust the texture to create melt-in-the-mouth chocolate and marshmallows. We had to ensure that the addition of a corporation's supplement powder didn't ruin the taste or texture. They planned to sell it as a private brand in a group's pharmacies, among other places. I hoped not only people with skin diseases but also those who wanted to easily consume nutrients-rich sweets would find these products appealing. Once we received the order from a corporation, we worked at a rapid pace to develop the product. We created smooth-textured chocolates and marshmallows that melted softly in the mouth. When David tried them, he was full of praise. This is incredible. I didn't expect such smoothness from chocolate. It's not as soft as ganache but melts the moment it's in the mouth. Yes, we made it so it wouldn't melt easily in your hand, yet melts delightfully in your mouth. Let me try the marshmallow. Wow, it melts too. It's like meringue dissolving. Yes, we worked on making it fluffy and melting. What do you think? It's great. It doesn't taste like a typical nutritional supplement, and I think people with illnesses, even kids, will happily eat it. It's bound to be popular. That's great to hear. Thank you. Can you take a large order for next month? Yes, we'll do our best. We did it, thanks to you, Kevin. It's not just me. It was possible because of the development team, and your suggestions were very helpful, Elizabeth. No, my suggestions weren't that significant. No, they were very helpful. Since the successful launch of our new chocolate and marshmallow products, we have been extremely busy. Orders started pouring in, and we received inquiries from many clients besides pharmacies. With so many orders, we definitely need to increase our production capacity. Yes, but we also need to find more suppliers for our materials, and we need to expand our production lines. I wonder if there's a suitable location. We all started looking for a factory. Ultimately, it was thanks to a corporation's assistance that we found a large one. They had greatly benefited from our partnership, so they introduced us to a factory they knew as a gesture of gratitude. Once production began in the factory, we were able to achieve significant sales. Our products were well received not only by patients but also by the general public, who purchased them in large numbers. Of course, a corporation's tasting event was a huge success, and we were thanked for it. I had never been thanked like this before, so it made me very happy. We did it. This quarter's profits are likely to soar, thanks to you, Kevin. I really appreciate it. Yes, it's all thanks to everyone's efforts, and thank you too, Elizabeth. No, I didn't do anything worth being thanked for. Yes, you did a lot. How about we go out for drinks to celebrate? Both a corporation and our president Aaron are delighted with the event's success. With me, is that a problem? No, I'll come. I'd never been out for drinks alone with a woman, so my heart was pounding. Elizabeth took me to a stylish bar, and I entered, feeling nervous. It was a bit dark, like a grown-up's hideaway. I'd never been to such a fancy place and wondered how to handle the bill. Elizabeth seemed to be a strong drinker, ordering several rounds. I was slightly tipsy by my second drink, my heart racing. I had never imagined enjoying drinks like this with such a wonderful person, almost like a date. I realized I was deeply in love with her and impulsively confessed. It was my first confession ever. Elizabeth, I like you. Sorry for saying this so suddenly. I honestly expressed my feelings to her. It was a heart-thumping moment, my first ever confession. She looked surprised at first but then smiled warmly. Really? That's great. I like you too, Kevin. What? You didn't realize. I always ate at my desk because I wanted to be with you. I thought you had some reason for not going to the cafeteria. Making a woman say this, isn't it normal to want to be with someone you like all the time? You like me. Yes, I've liked you from the beginning. You're hardworking, sincere. It's not about your education. I've been watching you all this time. Is that so? Elizabeth and I, both blushing, walked home hand in hand. Our hands felt warm, maybe because we were tipsy. It was a moment when I realized I'm really happy. Until now, I think I've lived a life filled with worries. Despite having a gifted mind, I never fully engaged in anything due to my personality. I learned that being good at studying doesn't necessarily mean being useful in society, but now I want to contribute more to the company. And that wouldn't be possible without Elizabeth. She was the only one in the company who was kind to me. Afterward, we introduced each other to our friends and spent more time together. We went on drives, visited delicious restaurants, and even went to the pool in the summer, creating many memories. We were dating, but we kept our relationship a secret at the company. However, it gradually became known. Around that time, Elizabeth had started talking to the other female employees. She had been disliked by some for being perceived as overly intellectual, but those employees apologized to her. Then, one day, we decided to meet each other's families. Elizabeth's family was very warm and welcomed me as a new member of their family. My family also welcomed Elizabeth with open arms. With the blessings of both our families, our bond grew even stronger. Eventually, we decided to get married. I was extremely nervous when proposing, but seeing Elizabeth's joy made me realize that spending a week choosing the engagement ring was worth it. On the wedding day, seeing Elizabeth in her dress, I was struck by her beauty. And when she smiled and said, "Thank you for everything. I love you," I felt I was at the peak of happiness. Since then, we have been living a happy married life. Meeting Elizabeth was the greatest fortune of my life. Without her, I wouldn't be the person I am today. We vowed to support and encourage each other and face life's challenges together. Our days are filled with happiness. From now on, I will do everything in my power for my wife.